everybody. We're doing a surprise pop-up astrological overview of 2024. We decided to just surprise you all. So Kathy and I are here for just kind of like a half-hour check-in to see what's going on right now and see what's coming up for 2024. We're going to go over the major shifts that are happening. How's it going, Kathy?
It's going.
got through the holiday. Almost come into another holiday.
Indeed. I'm almost done with my work, thank goodness, for 2023. I like actually spending some time not working at the end of the year. It's a rare thing, but here we go.
I take the pressure off. The last 2 weeks of December, I just take the pressure off. I might be working, but it's like I'm not going to expect too much of myself. And it's been good. I've actually I bought a set of fountain pens and a beautiful journal.
That's cool.
I know. I was just in a coffee shop bookstore the other day, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And here it is.
Oh, wow.
And a beautiful 2024, and I'm kind of prefacing it by just writing in a few things. So it says 2024, and then I'm kind of writing. I'm telling you all this because you might want to do this too. I wrote 2024 here, and then I'm just going to start. It's hard to see it. I'm just going to start writing like what I'm letting go of, which I've already started, and then what I intend, just like kind of like amping up for the new year. And I also have a workshop coming up on January 1st from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time on Zoom. For only $25, you can sign up. Anyone can sign up, and we're going to make vision boards and do a guided meditation and all that. So what do you got going on?
I've been prepping the workbook for the Write Your 2024 Story session that I'm doing with Donna Woodwell on January 4th. Mere $27. You get us for 2 hours and then infinite replay of the recording. And the what we do is guide you through figuring out how all the astrological stuff affects you personally, and different times when different things are going to be important.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yep. There's a link for that at the top of my site, which is empowermentunlimited.net.
And that's next week. I mean, I put up my astrological, my Llewellyn witch's calendar to my right, because I want to help myself through this transition where it's like, oh, January, that's so far away. It's next week. It's Monday, and it's tricky. I always find it tricky to just kind of keep up. I was listening to Greg Braden today, and I've been saying for a long time that time is speeding up, and he actually was talking about the science behind that.
Interesting.
Yeah, that there's a certain rhythm, a certain pulse to the earth that's actually accelerating, and we are the earth, and it's affecting all of us. So, and speaking of what's affecting all of us, people have been reporting to me that they're loaded with anxiety. So maybe we can kind of look at the astrology there if there's a connection.
Well, the end of the year right now, from the middle of this week through the weekend, but it's really strong today, there are aspects to Neptune, cosmic fog machine. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a big unreal atmosphere and not knowing what's real, what's not real, what's off in fantasy land, and maybe looking with incredible nostalgia and sentimentality the way things have been before. But it's actually an astonishingly grounding time now. If everyone would think of what's going on in their life from the lens of what do I have to do in order to feel physically safe and secure and good right now, take naps. I love daytime naps. I never used to, but now they are a luxury. Take naps, pay attention to your body, move around, notice what you're putting actually physically in your body. And this will go a long way to helping calm and ground some of the weirdness that's just out in the air right now. we get a really, really soft and slow launch into the next year because this weekend, actually over the break from this weekend to Monday, 2 planets are stationing direct, and that creates a sensation of being suspended in time. One
Yeah,
of
they're
them
big,
is
big
Jupiter,
ones.
which
Yeah.
makes everything bigger, and the other and Mercury is gonna station direct on the 1st. And so
Hmm.
there's a sense of nothing can rush, everything's just kinda hanging in space, and this can be kind of eerie and unnerving. People might be experiencing that as a source for anxiety, but really the benefit of it is you don't have to rush anything right
That's
now.
hard. That's hard for a lot of people.
Mhm.
It's hard for a lot of people to not feel like they have to rush. They have to hurry up and like that fight or flight thing kicks in.
Yep.
What you're saying about Neptune is really interesting because it seems to me it's a really good time to meditate. Like I meditate
Yes.
twice a day, and earlier I was meditating, and I was like, I came out of it, and I was like, whoa, that was really something. That was like, where did I go? Kind of feeling. I'm not a napper. I can't nap during the day. I think the last time that happened was when I was an infant. But meditation, I think, is very beneficial right now.
Mhm.
And the groundedness I get in nature. I literally leaned up against a tree this morning and just sort of stretched and
That's
looked
good.
like I was just stretching. So nobody, if anybody came by, they were like, "Well, what a weirdo." I'm kind of used to that anyway. But just to I hadn't gone for a long walk, which I do daily because the weather here has been horrendous, as it has where you are too, right? Are you getting like massive amounts of rain?
Yeah, the rain is doing things like knocking trees down, which then knock power lines down. So that's been loads of fun.
Yeah, and it just happened the last time we spoke. You lost power. We were having torrential rains that just wouldn't let up, and then that happened again the past 2 or 3 days. Just rain, 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 and it's been like living in a cave. Speaking of Neptunian, it's just like, what time is it? What day is it? It's hard to have a sense of the time of day, even, and with the
Hmm.
days being shorter, it's like we're all in this. We don't know where we are, what time it is, like that. So Neptune is in Pisces now.
Well, it's gonna be there until early 2025. It's been there for quite a while. But what's happening this week is that there are 2 squares to Neptune. There are 2 challenging aspects. There are 2 bodies that are making the cosmic fog machine pump even more and even more.
Oh, really?
And so,
Wow.
don't give yourself a break. Stream things, sleep. Well, if you don't want to sleep, take baths, listen to music.
It feels like good advice. That's when I was saying, writing in my journal. I'm surprised that I'm taking time to do that. A
Hmm.
nice pen helps.
Hmm.
so, so this Neptunian energy is making us more compelled to slow down during the winter solstice time of year. We're naturally wired for that anyway. So it's kind of like let's just go with the vibe of that. And the Neptunian energy, a lot of good things can happen, right?
Oh, yeah, things can be birthed from it, and you can see the truth of situations. I am observing some true colors coming out that are mind boggling. But bottom line here is we have a lot of time. There's no there's no outside influence that's saying push. And in fact, the beginning of 2024 is real slow and steady with it just one foot in front of the other. Look at it all as project management. I've been saying it's look at the first 3 weeks of 2024 as setting your goals, figuring out your action plan, not necessarily setting it in motion, but not just I want to go from A to B, but what are the incremental steps that'll get me there? Be boring, make spreadsheets,
Yeah.
set things up now because
We're getting ready.
The rest of the year is going to have an insane pace, and I can sum it up in 3 words: out of my way.
Oh, that sounds Aries.
That is 2024. Out
Is
of
that
my way.
Aries? Is there a lot of Aries energy?
Well, it's more than just what Aries is. Aries is a factor, but just in general, people are going to be not. Here's what I was thinking of earlier. When I was in grade school, long time ago, lunchtime would come and we'd have this really pent up energy,
Yeah.
and so the school had the sense to send us outside for recess where we would just run like maniacs. That's us this year.
Yeah. So we're in the playground.
Well, or we're being let out after having been cooped up and restrained and
Which is
going like crazy. Another way of looking at it is there are a whole series of booster rockets attached to us, and they're going to ignite and shoot us forward throughout the year.
and you mentioned something about True Colors coming out now. Can you say more about that?
Well, with Mars, the Mars Neptune square, I am observing um, some, on one hand, deranged statements and responses to situations, but they're revealing what's really going on inside someone. And
Hmm.
I'm watching people unmask themselves.
Does that mean that like revelations about people from your past could just like sometimes for me, and it might be true for everybody, you like mull over a situation for the longest time for years and years and years, and then one day it's just like, oh, I totally see why things turned out the way that they did based on what's happened, even though it might have been a big enigma, a big puzzle for years and years, and then all of a sudden it's just like that's why I'm like this, or that's why this happened. You know what I mean?
Well, that could be a factor in it too, but what specifically I am referring to is um, behavior that shows what people's real motivations have been that maybe have been cloaked, if that
Oh,
makes sense. I mean,
yeah,
there's some specific situations around me that I am referring to with this. I'm not saying that it's across the board, but there is some level of look at what the illusion has been and like bubble popping. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
yeah, yeah,
Some,
yeah, yeah. It's the same thing. I that's what I mean. I can
mhm,
relate to that, and it's
mhm.
not pleasant. I mean, it can be unpleasant. It can be like, man, did it really have to be this way all these years? That kind of a feeling, and then you just be coming to the awareness that sometimes it's a matter of like in the past, if you had apologized or if somebody else had apologized, everything would have been different. Just kind of this time of reflecting. And I know that Jupiter's more going direct tomorrow, right? And it
Mhm.
feels like a time of big awarenesses. I don't know if that's astrologically something that's
Well,
going on.
I would say that Jupiter and Mercury stationing retrograde back to back, along with right after Mars goes poof and pops a whole bunch of balloons, all of that just kind of means looking at increasingly the actual physical realities of situations with Jupiter being in Taurus, and
Right.
seeing how certain beliefs maybe aren't fitting anymore with Mercury stationing direct in Sagittarius, which has a lot to do with what our world view is.
If you have Mercury in Sagittarius, is it more intense?
I would say so,
As
yes.
I do. And then Venus goes into Sagittarius
Nope.
today too, right?
Yeah, yeah, well, it's there. So that's kind of like lightning. The Venus moving into Sagittarius means this weekend has a fighting chance for having a kind of a party atmosphere, but pretty much everything else is
Good thing for
be an
that, Sag.
adult. Be an adult. It's time to be an adult. Take responsibility for yourself. Celebrating, oh my, I actually am doing something for me.
What do you For what you think it's a Mercury and Sag energy?
No, I honestly think the huge impact, the huge focus is here and now. Where are my feet? Where am I going? The big Capricornian emphasis, which
Right.
will be even stronger in the next couple of weeks. So Venus moving into Sag, like adds some lightness and makes it possible for people to want to actually party, enjoy, celebrate over
Yeah.
the weekend. But increasingly, we're going to be paying attention to what's really going on around me and taking kind of the self how do I get my environment in a situation so that it supports me. Essentially, we're making our little launch pads because the rest
Yeah,
of the
that's
year is going to be insane, and there are 3 points I want to be sure to get across about the rest of
yeah,
the
but
year.
what a great way to start the year, though, don't you think? Like it's like
Mhm.
plugging your cell phone in. Okay, I'm gonna need my phone, so I need to plug it in and just wait till it's all charged, and here we go. Right? It's a good
Yep.
time to make sure your batteries are charged up. That could be literal too with the weather stuff that's coming,
Yep.
the weather events that are coming. I haven't done my 2024 video yet, but it's coming.
That'll be
That's
good to see.
that's in there.
Hmm.
So let's move into, so we can expect kind of like lighthearted fun, a little bit of heaviness, and slowing down of things until maybe the third week in January. You're thinking? December?
Yeah, and you don't have to look so much at what are my resolutions, although some people may still feel like they want to make those, but look at your life more in terms of what are my priorities and what are my goals and what sorts of things would it actually make a lot of sense for me to start setting up because you're not going to have time to think about it as the year goes on. So think about it now
How are we not going to have time to think about it?
because it's going to
Time's
be
speeding up.
very, very hectic.
So a lot of, I mean, it just seems like that we've been in that place of, oh my gosh, and don't have the bandwidth, it's too much, or I'm on overload. Kind of like doing my PNN YouTubes when everyone's talking and there's trolls and there's all this news and these questions and people having different conversations about different things and trying to keep up like that kind of a feeling. Like there's so much happening and we have to.
More than that.
What do you think it is?
Oh, well, three big things. Okay, the first big thing is that our experience of power and our communities undergoes a change 2/3 of the way through January. Pluto moves into Aquarius until the beginning of September. Now, we got a tiny look. Pluto was at the doorway to Aquarius from the end of March until like June 10, 2023, for
Yeah.
the first time in our lifetimes. And there's a David versus Goliath energy to this, but it's more a whole bunch of Davids banding together and
Ooh.
deciding how they're going to go after
I'm
Goliath.
feeling that. I can see that. I can feel that in the collective. Absolutely. I've been
So
picking up on that.
power is going from top heavy, institutional heavy, a few people with unthinkable amounts of wealth controlling everything. And then in the next 20 plus years, it's going to be lateral. Up, where does
Lateral.
it go?
Lateral. So it's like more evened out.
Well, the expression, well, people will be living more locally. They'll be more focused on what's happening in their community, what they're doing with their friends. And the individual power experience will be much, much different. Things to know: the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius in the late 1700s, the concept of democracy was born in France. The
Yeah.
concept of the middle class was born also in France. Um, French Revolution happened, some horrible
Right.
things happened in the street, and the US Constitution was written. I think the Industrial
Yeah.
Revolution may have been a part of this as well. So,
Yeah.
um,
The early part of it. Yeah.
long processes of big changes in how we handle things. So we just get a little bit of a taste. Again, this year, we just step out the doorway and go, what is this? And then towards the end, just before Thanksgiving, Pluto moves into Aquarius, and it's there for until 2042. So,
what's the exact date it goes in to Aquarius? Oh, well.
November
Yeah,
18.
gotta
November
get ready.
18 is when it goes in for well and good. I'm just now completed my cheat sheets for the year, which you get if you subscribe to my Patreon. By the way, give you my cheat sheet. So
definitely check that out. That sounds great. It's a cheat sheet of everything that's going
all
on.
the big astrological stuff. Yeah, hold on, my chair is doing something.
Is
weird.
it like a sheet that you send?
Yeah, it's a PDF with dates every month, things that are happening. So one big thing is Pluto moving into Aquarius. And then the other big thing is what's happening with relationships and how we are rewriting how we're going to interact with each other. And this starts up again in March and April. We've had eclipses in the relationship signs since March of 2023. They'll go on until 2025. And what they're doing is shifting the focus much more to the individual and making us less concerned with what the other person is doing. Now, we'll continue to be in relationships. It does not mean that things are going to just blow up, but this is the real impetus for the out of my way stuff. Like, people are going to have this feeling of, I have been cooped up and not able to do what it is I really wanted to do in my life. So, out of my way, I am doing this. It's like,
do you think that aligns with just, this is not a political show today, we're just doing the astrology. I just want to say that I feel a coming together of people this year, like, just really, like, probably it's going to be surprising to us, but I have felt the build up to this for some time, where we're so done, we're just about to blow our tops.
yep, that would fit this.
Yeah, and so the blowing our tops and just like, we're not going to take it anymore, that feeling you're saying is going to be like third week of January into February. Maybe we'll kind of
No, we'll just start to sense that the playing field is changing.
Yeah.
Late in January. And then in March and April, when the Libra and Aries eclipses start up again, that's one of the two big things that.
Did we freeze? I think we froze. Hang on, I think we froze. I think Kathy froze. I'm still here, but it looks like Kathy froze. She might need to. Okay, you froze a little. I'm still here. You want to leave and come back? Oh, technology. Yeah, you're breaking up. I can keep people busy. They want to do group hugs, so you want to leave and come back? Because you're frozen. Oh, Chuck's back. We'll do a group hug, and Kathy can leave and come back. 1, 2, 3, group hug. Let's make the technology work. Mercury is still retrograde till January 2nd. What Kathy's saying really is in alignment with what I'm feeling for 2024, which is people coming together in huge, huge numbers to make changes for the better. Please hit the thumbs up while you're here. Please smile and a Coke, right? I have my Karma as Jack Smith cup from Warren. She's coming back. I was just showing off my Karma as Jack Smith mug. But we're not talking about politics.
My router decided to drop my 5G network.
Mercury's still retrograde. We just have to kind of breathe through it till the 2nd, right?
Anyway.
Is anything else retrograde?
Right now?
Going into
Jupiter and Uranus. Now, in this regard, from the 27th of January until the 1st of April, nothing will be retrograde. So that's a
Oh, wow.
time to really schedule, like, this is when I'm going to implement things, but know that once we get into eclipse season, all bets are off and there's heavy volatility, because not only do we have a solar eclipse, which is the booster rocket going crazy forward, conjunct Mars in Aries in April, the one big, big, big outer planet aspect of the year happens then as well. And that is Jupiter and Uranus joining at 21 degrees Taurus.
That
So,
almost sounds scary to me.
well, it can bring a lot of innovation.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be crazy about it, but it doesn't have to be. Uranus has been over this degree several times, and when it goes direct on the 27th of January, you're going to start to sense where breakthroughs are possible. But whatever you think you're building in the Taurus area of your life, there's a surprise, there's a plot twist, there's something that you don't see. Ultimately, it's awakening. Ultimately, it's liberating. Ultimately, it's a
Hmm.
good thing.
And so for the people that don't really know much about Taurus, in the area of Taurus, you said, what would you say?
Well, so Taurus is the sensual and physical experience of life, and it is connected with, in modern astrology, money, food, the voice, physical arts, the
Mhm.
sensuality of physical experience. Jupiter expands everything it touches. Uranus goes bam, throws lightning bolts or blows things up. This does not mean you're going to have economic destruction, but
Right.
it does mean innovation and things coming at you out of left field, and things taking you in a direction that you hadn't seen possible. Jupiter can bring reward. Jupiter,
Yeah.
in some traditions, is associated with the Wheel of Fortune. So there can be something coming round full circle. Bam. Oh, that's a way I didn't see things.
Oh, that's cool. It could be really positive.
It could be extraordinarily positive.
Great news. I like that. Let's bring it on. Let's bring on change for the good, for the more money.
And for those who are still kind of freaking out, I will just stress, and I have a little guide about this in my shop. The last time that Uranus was in Taurus in the 30s, yes, there were earth issues, there were
Yeah.
monetary issues, but innovation took place like crazy.
Big
The
time.
Securities Exchange Commission was founded, Social Security was founding,
Yeah.
safety nets were put into place to, and there were things that were done that would actually deal with the land, the ground. Tennessee Valley Authority was
Right.
founded.
It was major, major,
Yeah,
major.
so this is like expanding on that. And any of you who have heard, this is the only even remotely quasi political thing I will say today. Anybody who's heard anything about a Green New Deal, this is the stuff of it. This is like the next generation technological uh, way of dealing with, and follow the news about the Lawrence Livermore lab in Northern California. There are astonishing things happening under the radar there, having to do with different sources of um, energy generation and all
Yeah.
kinds of other things. I happen to have a relative who's been really involved with it, but there's all kinds of stuff coming out that's not from his section. So things are happening, and I think it'll just start
So
to
you
erupt and
and
explode.
there it sounds like there are things that have been hidden.
Could have been, or they just maybe haven't been getting a whole lot of attention.
Well, if they've been working on alternative sources of energy, alternatives to fossil fuels, that it seems like that would be hidden. That would have been hidden. Seems like. Anyway,
Well,
I'll look into that. That sounds fascinating.
mhm. So there's one other big thing to watch for this year. Okay. So we've got Pluto in Aquarius from January 20th to November, a beginning of September, and then again around November 18 for the rest of, for 20 years. That's thing one. Thing two, relationship rewriting, um, eclipses in March and April and September and October. Thing three, the Jupiter Uranus in April. Fourth thing to know is Jupiter, which expands everything it touches, moves into the sign of Gemini
Hmm.
late in May for 1 year. And now I know some astrologers who think Jupiter doesn't like being in Gemini. I personally think what it's going to do is I think Jupiter deals well with an air sign, and what it's going to do is just up the noise level like crazy.
But Jupiter's the optimist, and it rules Sagittarius, and
Right,
in
which is
Gemini, it seems like it could be very positive for communication.
it could, but it means that quiet time quiet
No
time in
way.
your head, not going to be there. We could all be little squirrels running. It could be massive distractibility and ooh, shiny object time. On the plus side, curiosity could be really enhanced and learning to multitask and to do many things at once. But the pace of communication, things about social media, already we're living under a 24/7 news cycle. I can't imagine how that could even get to be
I
more.
know you're saying this, and I'm like, more? What do you mean more?
Yeah, I don't know how, but it will be.
So we don't want to make this video too long. I do want to ask you about AI and astrologically. Do you see a time where it just blows up, like it explodes and it's everywhere?
Well, we'll have some things really pushing it forward this year, particularly in June, because of aspects to Pluto and Aquarius. I think Pluto moving through Aquarius will make the changing role of technology more and more and more an issue, and go back to the idea of the Industrial Revolution
Yeah,
earlier. So this is like our counterpart to it.
right.
Um, it's a given, it's inevitable, and there'll be a big question about who controls it.
Yeah, I don't want to like promote fear about it, but I do feel that we have to be vigilant about how much of it we want to let in, because we don't want it taking over our brains. And I know that sounds like hyperbole, but literally they it could happen. You know what I mean? It's like have a chip in your brain. You know what Elon Musk is, thinking about those types of things.
I invite
But
him to go first.
not me. I don't invite him to go first. Oh, you mean to have the chip in his brain?
Yeah,
He might already have one in his
that's
brain.
true. Go test it out yourself. Anyway, I personally no. I mean, I'm an Aquarian, but oddly, I'm a late adopter. I let other people figure things out.
Oh, really?
I
That's
think
funny.
about stuff, but in terms of the technology, I'm not on board with the new stuff. Like, nah, let the bugs get worked out. Then I'll consider it.
Yeah, well, I think that there's also, some people want to keep their humanness, and so there's a bit of a resistance to getting too involved in that. Not there's nothing wrong with being involved in technology, but I think that some people are like, no, I want to do it myself. Like we all have GPSs, right? But maybe some people liked getting lost and finding their way, right? But just doesn't happen anymore. So I think there's a part of some people anyway, maybe most people, that would like to keep the basics, the way they're
Anyone
used
still
to
have
having them.
maps in their trunk? I do.
And yeah, like that. That's what I mean. It's like, well, you enjoy it and you don't want to lose that. It's all not so much nostalgia, but relying on more of your human abilities, your human capabilities. For instance, with AI, I'm a writer. I love to write. It's one of my passions. I have a book. I love to write newsletters. I love to write things and then look at them and go, "Wow, that's really cool. That came out of me." And then recently I got my mass email service. I don't have to name it, but they're like, we're going to raise your rate by 16%. And because we're introducing AI. Well, I don't want AI, but they're just going to charge me for it anyway. AI will write my newsletters for me. I don't want that. So that's why I asked you about AI. It's like, is it going to be something that just everyone's doing? Like, you can't live without
Ultimately,
a cell phone right now, right? Cell phones and technology are everywhere. There are really huge benefits. Obviously, we couldn't do this without technology. However, taken too far, we lose a lot of our natural capacities.
who
So
memorizes phone numbers anymore?
I don't know anybody's phone number, and if I lose my phone, I'm plumb out of luck. So I'm hanging on to say I'm dependent on it. So do you have any like sometimes I like to think of I just thought of this. Sometimes I like to think of a word for the year or a sentiment for the year coming up.
Out of my
Yeah.
way.
Out of
Out of
my way.
my
Okay,
way.
so that's
Just
your sentiment for the year. All right.
that's
Mine will
it.
be later. I haven't tuned in yet. Mine will be later. My members, once I do my video, my members will receive an in-depth 2024 predictions video, and the rest I'll just do less in depth on my channel. So Warren memorizes phone numbers. Wow, good for you. You get a bell. All right. Well, we just wanted to pop in and surprise everybody and give you a little bit of a New Year's preview, little party. Um, I'm going to ask Kathy what she's up to really quickly. On January 1st, I am having an event. Go to psychicanettedion.com. We're doing vision boards, journaling, sharing. We're having a party. It's $25. It's $20 per person if you invite a friend. It's on my website. You may have gotten a newsletter. And on the 31st, on New Year's Eve, for 3 hours, I'm reading excerpts from these spiritual books that have had the most impact on my life. And then interspersed with a few minutes of meditation time and reflection. So, and psychicanettedion.com is where you go to book a reading too. And Kathy, the
My
stage
site
is
is
yours.
empowermentunlimited.net. I have forecasts for every week, new moon, full moon, and month. I'm co-leading a workshop helping people figure out how all of the big aspects of 2024 are affecting them individually. On January 4th, there's a link at the top of my site
I'll be there.
for that. My Patreon is Patreon/Kathy Biehl, and there's tons of stuff there. Tons of stuff, including my cheat sheet for 2024.
Oh yeah, I want that. Yeah, and if you can send me an email with your info so I can copy and paste it into the chat,
Yep,
into the description.
I will.
Thank you. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Please subscribe to this channel and to Kathy's channel,
Professional Aquarian.
at Professional Aquarian. And we are so happy that we could pop in and give you all this information. Tonight is PNN. It's Friday the 29th. I have to check my calendar. It's 29th. And that'll be at 7 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the Psychic News Network here on my channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
See you soon. Be well. Stay healthy.